So all the Palestinians, all the Syrians, they're actually not Lebanese. Like they can never get a passport. I think I'm broke. They have been in like this Cold War with Lebanon for almost like since 2006. Pistache at its core was basically me coming from Lebanon, wanting to have like English sweets, and I just decided to put the Mediterranean flavors into it. And it was started with orange blossom, and then I was like, man, I should start a business with this thing. And it just kept going from there. People figured out we can use solar power. And then whoever had a solar power business, they made billions.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Caravan Podcast. It is 2026 and this is our first shoot of the year. We're joined with the ever so incredible Mr. Tarek from Pistache Bakery here in DFW. How you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling great. Beginning of 2026, we have big plans.
Big plans. It seems like a lot of big things are happening around the world, and we're only what seems to be 11 days in. So there's a country's news, and there's also news for you. You mentioned having big goals with the new year. Are those like personal goals at Pistache Bakery? Are they overlapping? Could you share some?
I think owning a business on your own is everything is overlapping. So it's a mix of both.
What are some goals you're able to share?
So one of the bigger goals is growing Pistache, making it a bigger brand, taking it to another level. We recently worked on a coffee cart. We launched coffee along with our pastries, and that's been going well, and we're looking to just keep going with that stride.
That's amazing. I think you should always be looking for opportunities on how you can kind of shift your business and experiment. Could you give us a little bit of background on like Pistache Bakery? I mean, I think when we hear that, we have our assumption that it is a bakery shop, but it seems like you definitely have a tenacity type of mindset to experiment and try new things. So what is Pistache Bakery at its core, and what are some of the outside things that you're kind of exploring right now?
So Pistache at its core was basically me coming from Lebanon, wanting to have like English sweets, and I just decided to put the Mediterranean flavors into it. And it was started with orange blossom, and then I was like, man, I should start a business with this thing. And it just kept going from there. But it's like years in the making, ever since I was in Lebanon and everything that we learned over there, and just bringing that over here.
So you mentioned English bakery. So are we talking like scones and stuff, or is
By English, I meant like American, because like whenever I was in Lebanon, it was like I miss American food that I used to have in the U.S. when I was growing up in New Jersey. And then when I came over here, it was like, man, I really miss Mediterranean and Middle Eastern sweets, like the ones I used to have over there. So whenever I came here, it was like this dilemma. So I just decided to combine both, and that's how Pistache was born.
So what is like American bakery like for you? Because like for me, cookies, I'm thinking like, okay, like cookies,
donuts, brownies, pies, pretty much that stuff. Awesome. Cheesecake even.
Yeah. So you mentioned, it seems like you were kind of bouncing from one part of the world to the other. So were you born in the U.S.? Not that ICE is listening, but were you born here and moved there? Like, what's a little bit of your story?
So I am American. That's one.
That's what they all say.
But we were in New Jersey. My dad had come here, and he was here for like 30 years. 35 years. Yeah. So it was like because they fled the war in the 80s. I think it was like from
Palestine.
No, it was from Lebanon.
From Lebanon, okay.
There was the Sabra Shatila massacre, and a week later, I think all of them fled, because at that point it was really bad to be Palestinian in those areas. And they came over here, they started their business. My dad actually was in Fort Worth for I think like 5 years, and then he moved to Philadelphia and South Jersey. And he was there, then we were raised, and then he just decided he just wanted to leave at some point because he wanted us to be able to be, raised in like a more
like in your cultural background,
more cultural way. And it's something I'm grateful for right now, like being able to go there and being like having friends over there and learning everything in Lebanon and Beirut especially. It's a complete different outcome.
Mm-hmm. So when your dad was immigrating here, did he come like as a refugee status? Like or was he just coming as like a citizen or?
I actually do not know.
Okay, well, that's an interview you could have with your father. No, do you know if he came with like, was he married at the time?
No, he wasn't married.
Okay, so he kind of came single.
He was like 16, 17.
Okay, so
And
none of you guys were here yet. None of your siblings. I
Oh,
assume.
no.
Okay.
It was he was really young. He came here and he really worked his way up
Yeah.
to get to where he was.
So as you guys were growing up here, were all of you guys born in the U.S. prior to moving back?
Yeah, we were all born here, except my little baby brother. He was the only one born in Lebanon, and it was like a really funny thing because my dad every now and then he would go there and he's like, "You're not American. You can't go to America." He doesn't know he's American. He'd be like, "I want to go with you guys. I want to go with you guys," and it would just be funny. But like overall, it's all of us were born here, and then at some point he figured that his work-life balance wasn't working. It was like all work, no life, and especially because he was like an IHOP franchisee.
Oh wow!
So he had a few IHOPs. He had his own diner. It was next to University of Penn in Philadelphia, so it was like a really big thing. And then he just noticed that it's just not working. Like he either loses his kids or he loses his work, and he decided to just completely start a new business in Lebanon. And it wasn't even in the restaurant industry. He just opened a TV electronics warehouse, and he started shipping from China. So that's where I get a lot of the
entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
bug.
it's like learning under his wing for like years and years. And
so, how many siblings do you have? Are you from a big family, a small family?
So we're 6 brothers. I'm the second oldest.
Oh wow!
My older brother, he runs it's like a taco fusion pop-up place.
Yeah.
The Birria Bros in Tampa Bay.
Oh my goodness!
And he's become really successful with it. I think
Alhamdulillah.
he's like 9,000 followers or whatever.
What?
Yeah, so I'm doing this over here, and then my other brothers are just they're all under 20.
Yeah. So what's like the age range for all of y'all? Because I mean that's
So my older brother is 33.
Okay.
And my youngest is 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
I'm 25.
Okay. So decent spread.
Yeah.
Are you guys all pretty close, or is it like?
Yeah, we're all pretty close.
And
yeah.
I assume you guys are. I mean, you mentioned your eldest is in Tampa. Is the rest of the family here in?
The rest of the family lives with me in the house. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, we're all.
And is your dad in Lebanon still?
My dad is still in Lebanon. He's managing the business.
And mom's here.
And mom is here.
Wow!
To just make sure nobody fights.
Yeah. So what is that like? Because that's a big responsibility. I mean, you're kind of acting as, the substitute head of the house here locally, I imagine, in some capacity, especially as you said, you're 25, right?
Yeah.
And you're also running a business. So does that ever feel, I would make a joke about having gray hairs, but I don't see any gray hairs. So
there are a few beard hairs. I think I plucked them out.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. You're taking the spotlight out from Jannah's. I think that's what they say. But what is that like? Because I think a lot of people tend to be in these positions and there's not really like a support group per se, but how do you manage that?
It was overwhelming at first, but like my brothers are really responsible to some extent. They know what they're here for. They want to study. They want to do this. Like they're studying to be engineers and mechanical, civil, and I think industrial, one of them. But yeah, so they have a head on their shoulder. It's really it's a really good thing. We do bicker here and there. There's always like those brotherly fights where you just throw stuff at each other.
That's
or, like,
necessary.
And then like 5 minutes later, you're just cool with each other.
Right. You got to pent off the stress. If you hold it in, it'll get bad.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. If you have brothers, it's like it's kind of like a dog fight every now and then.
Yeah,
it's like you just bark at each other, and then that's pretty much it.
So you are going between coast to coast. You go back to Lebanon. How old were you at that time?
So I was pretty much raised there. I was like 10, 11. So we were there whenever I was 8. We went there. And my dad was still managing IHOPs here, IHOPs and the Philly Diner and stuff. And then we were living there. He would come like 3 months in, 3 months off. And at some point in like 2010, 2011, he was like, I'm sick of this. I don't want to live alone. So he moved over and he just completely started a new business in 2012. And ever since then, we did grow closer because I would like help him at the warehouse, and we would like there was that like relationship kind of to compensate for like the non-work life balance that was over here.
Right.
And yeah, like I was there. I went all the way to like 21, and that's when we decided I need to come here. It was after like things in Lebanon got really bad. They did get worse after, unfortunately, but we thought that that would be the worst.
What do you think, was there like a moment within like the relationship with your father that you were like, you grew tremendously closer with your dad?
Yeah, at points it was like we would always be together, like and it was like my first job. So I would go to the warehouse. That was like something I would look forward to after school, because life over there, it's a little different than here. You can just walk over there. You can walk to work and back. So it was like there's a lot of time being spent. And it did do a lot to like teach me how like everything works, and especially because he was like more of a wholesaler. So I saw a lot of like big numbers, and I saw a lot of like big ideas. And my dad was someone that would take risks. So he would always like buy insane amounts of stuff, and he would just be like, "Oh, I'll sell it eventually." So
We learn a lot of lessons from our parents, and obviously having the opportunity to work with your dad that closely and for many hours, it sounds like, outside of like the typical advice that, about, I learned about hard work ethic from my parents and things like that. And you could take a second to reflect if needed. Was there any like, what's like a very powerful lesson that you learned from your dad that may not be super popular, that you feel like really resonated with you, that you still kind of hold close to your heart?
So one of the biggest lessons he taught me was just to take care of the books, like your books. And it was like something I didn't really care about whenever I was younger. I'd be like, it's just accounting. I don't care. And
Accounts receivable.
yeah, exactly. It's like, why would I care? I'm like 15. You're giving me the money, whatever. I don't care. But like one of the other things is, for example, I wanted to buy a PS4.
Of course.
Back in the day, right? And he would always be like, no, you can do something else in your life. And it would be like a push thing type of thing. And I did get into sports, and I started like training football, and I was like playing rugby, and I was like doing the gym and stuff like that. And right now when I reflect on it and like go through everybody's childhood, everybody was just stuck in their house playing video games. And I was like building that responsibility, building that like work ethic.
The discipline.
Yeah, the discipline. My dad was a very disciplinary.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, I think sports, let's get into that, because you're quite the athlete. You are you're not a hobbyist, it sounds like, when it comes to, I mean, just from your build alone. Mashallah, Allahumma barak. You did not go to university in the US, even though you had the opportunity to. You mentioned your dad had a restaurant near Penn State.
Yeah.
Is that where you were wanting to go? Did you want to, because you ended up going abroad for university?
Yeah, I did want to go to Penn State.
Yeah.
I was looking to get a football scholarship, but it just, I got another thing with the Lebanese American University, and it was like closer to home. And my dad at the time, he was going through eye surgeries left and right. So it was like, okay, let's just stay home. And the Lebanese American University wanted to give me like a scholarship and like with financial aid. So it made a lot of sense.
It's hard to beat free.
It wasn't free,
Okay,
but it was like closer to home. You don't need to worry about all this stuff. And reflecting on it now that we're reflecting, it's like, I don't know how I would have turned out if I was an 18-year-old coming alone to the US studying in Penn State.
That makes sense, because your family's still all back there at that time.
My family's
right?
still all back there
Yeah.
at that time. So it would be me completely alone, just discovering the world on my own. Like the world is
Yeah.
my oyster. So I don't know what would have happened, but I'm grateful for the outcome. It's
Alhamdulillah.
And I learned a lot in those like 3 years living there. There was so much hardship that at some point you learn from it.
Yeah. You mentioned football being like an opportunity, but you ended up becoming quite the power lifter. How did that come about? Being like, how did you transition into that space?
So it was more of like a complementary thing. It was like I'm powerlifting to play football. So it was like I'm trying to build my endurance, my strength training, and I just won a few powerlifting things on the way. But mostly it was just like a few years where I was really invested in it. I did win I think on record, I'm still the youngest powerlifting champion in Lebanon or something.
Like nationally?
Yeah, I think I'm
How
still.
old were you?
I was 17. I think I was like 17. And from there, I started realizing all the knee issues that come with that stuff.
Yeah,
So
valid.
I was like, I'm just gonna start walking on a trail.
Leave while you're ahead.
Yeah.
What was that? I mean, that must have been. I feel like having any sort of title like that or claim, even if that record got beaten, right? To have it, even for a moment of time, how did that feel, especially at a young age?
Yeah, so I was always like the shy, like more enclosed person in school, right? So I remember whenever I did it, everybody was like, "Wait, what? Like what? That guy?"
You had a sleeper's build,
Yeah, I
what
was
they
like,
call it.
everybody was like, I'm wearing like baggy clothes all the time. We
Yeah.
had a uniform, and they're like, "Wait, that's the guy that did it," and it was fun, just seeing like the reaction on everybody. And at some points it was really like satisfying to know that we were doing good. And I remember whenever I won, I went to my dad and he was like, well, you have your finals in a few weeks, so you got to start focusing on that. But that was it was really fulfilling.
Yeah. Are you active in the gym still, I assume, or?
I try to be.
Yeah.
It's really hard whenever you're juggling a business and having
Family
family to take care of and making time for the gym. It's really hard, but I'm trying more to lean on the trail side, just walking on trails, doing some HIIT workouts.
Yeah.
That's more the style.
So being a power lifter and then also owning a bakery, they don't not necessarily super complementary. So what would be, let's say I'm going to the gym and I need to have a pre-workout from the bakery. What would be the best item to get? And as a post-workout, what would be the best item to get?
I think it should be something with like lower sugar for a pre-workout because you don't want that sugar crash after. So maybe, oh, that's tough. I'll take something like a cream base, maybe like a croissant.
Okay.
Croissant works.
Yeah.
Post workout, I think you want something with a lot of protein. I don't think nobody cares about sugars because your insulin is up at that point. So maybe like a cheesecake would work.
Okay, fair enough. Obviously, this is a very hard question to ask because it's not really geared for it. But
I was a biology major, so.
Oh, okay. So how did you go? So how did you go? Wait, what?
I was a pre-med major.
Oh,
in Lebanon.
I did that too. I was a pre-med, but I didn't go to bakery. But how did you go from wanting to be a football athlete to biology to bakery?
Pre-med is for my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was always like, I want a doctor in the family. And I wasn't always the best student because I'm like very moody when it comes to studying. So like we had philosophy. We used to study philosophy in Lebanon. I don't think it's in the curriculum here. But during philosophy classes, I would just get really bored and I'd just get my own book and start reading. And the teacher would look at me and he's like, ugh, not that guy again. But so I was not really the study person,
the studious type. Yeah.
I'm just gonna chill, take it. And I was really good. So while I was studying in like the pre-med, I realized that I don't really belong there because like pre-med students they're insane. They like take it to an extreme level.
It is interesting. At least pre-med, I assume it's the same, around the world here, but at least in my college experience at Austin, like they would boast on who got the less amount of sleep
Yeah.
on studying. And I'm like, this is not good. You should not be competing on that.
It's too competitive. It's too competitive, right? Like it's like when you're in the library and someone asks you for something, you're really encouraged to not help because there's only limited spots. So people would get mad at me because I would like every now and then someone would ask me a question like to explain it to them, and I would, and someone else would come over and they're like, "Why are you explaining it to them?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like, I just don't care about pre-med that much." Well, I think my sign in pre-med was we had a lab test, and we were all lining up, and everybody was just studying. And I know that like the last 10 minutes before an exam, you're not going to remember anything anyway.
Right.
So I remember vividly just holding M&Ms and just eating them. And someone comes up to me, they're like, "You have a test in 9 minutes and you're eating M&Ms." And I'm like, I don't care.
You know what? One thing I always say is like, if you don't know at that point, you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and so you can cram much as you want, but if you're, I don't know, I mean, some people would disagree, but at that point, you're just trying to like remember something for 3 seconds.
Yeah,
it's hoping in the first 4 questions, it's that question that you need the answer to. I think I've been in that position like maybe twice my entire life, from like high school to end of college, where that last, 10 minutes of cramming actually benefited me in the exam. But maybe that's the difference between passing and failing. Who knows?
Yeah.
But so you go from biology. Did you finish with your biology degree, even though you knew you didn't want to be a physician?
So we had a lot going on. Mm-hmm. We had a revolution in Lebanon in 2019.
That's pretty normal, I think.
And being an 18-year-old, I don't know how on record I can be, but I was like really active.
Yeah,
it was
during the events.
During the events,
yeah,
and just protesting, shutting down the university, and all that.
Could you walk us through like? For example, like my father was a freedom fighter for Bangladesh during its revolution back in the 70s. And so I have a good understanding of history of what was happening there. In Lebanon, like what were you protesting against? Who was like the body that we were going against? Like, would you be able to give like a very quick highlight just so we understand what the context is?
So the thing with Lebanon is that there's 18 sects, right? Okay. So it's like 18 different religions technically.
Right. Because you have Christians, but you also have like different sects of Christians, Jews, and Muslims. Yeah.
Sunni Muslim, Shia Muslim.
It's very diverse.
Super diverse.
Yeah.
A little too diverse.
Yeah.
But whenever you get to a point where it's like it's a really small country and everyone is fighting with each other and the country's corrupt and you have another country under you, wink, wink, that doesn't really like you. It's bound to make a lot of problems.
Like the country under you doesn't like you?
It's Israel.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to state that.
Yeah. So
occupied Palestine, some would say.
Occupied Palestine. So so they have been in like this Cold War with Lebanon for almost like since 2006, right? Yeah, 2006 was the war. And then they've been on this like silent Cold War between each other where it's like a tit for tat.
And would it be far off to say of like Israeli psyops being within these different sects within Lebanon?
Oh yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that because so the revolution that happened, I don't know how open can we be about this?
Be as open as you would like to be. I mean, for us, it's like being completely transparent.
Yeah. So whenever the revolution started in Lebanon, it was like very rightful, right? Because there's so much corruption in the country. It's run by these like mobs, and a lot of the rulers there, if you say anything, like you can't even say their name out loud, right? It would be like one of them, and you want to say their name, you would just
it's like saying Voldemort or something in Harry Potter. Yeah.
So at some point that was broken whenever the revolution happened. Ironically, it's because they wanted to tax WhatsApp. That was like the trigger, right?
Tax WhatsApp.
Yeah, so like WhatsApp would have a tax on it.
Dude, I'm telling people to get on WeChat. I'm a big WeChat guy.
My dad's a big WeChat guy because of the
Your
China
dad's
connection.
On it. Yeah.
Because of the China connection. So then the revolution started, right? And it was like this rightful revolution. People are sick of the status there. And so the first 2-3 months, like all the schools, it was like they called it a student revolution because usually the younger generation is the flair. It's like the heart of anything that they do. So I was a huge part of it, but then I started realizing, well, the agenda's kind of changing right now. It's like, it's not about corrupt whatever. It's about kind of bringing secularism to the country and bringing
Yeah.
whatever and bringing freedom and all that stuff. And it's like, I think it's changing right now.
It get like currently or back then you noticed
Back
it
then, it was like
changing?
3 months whenever there were like weekly protests, like every single week. And that kind of did tank my GPA.
Yeah.
Because you're part of the revolution, right? And at that point, I had like a 3.2, 3.3 GPA
Out of 4?
out of 4. And they were like, you have a right to revolution. Sure, you can protest because they can't really put a bottle cap on it. And then at almost the end of the semester, around like November, they were like, okay, we can't sustain this. We thought it was going to be like 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Is this like 2018, 2019? 2019. Okay.
October 17th.
So right before COVID really come through.
Yeah, that's coming. We're going there. So October 17th, the revolution goes, right? And it goes like 2-3 weeks. And then they're like, okay, but people have grades to take care of. So they issued this ultimatum to everyone that was like participating in the student movement is if you want to pass this semester, you need to do your midterms, your finals. So like, and your finals in the span of 2 weeks or you're toast. So it's safe to say my GPA at that point was like 1.5 because you really didn't have any time for anything. Yeah. And at that point, it was like, I have different priorities. But yeah, one thing my dad always told me is that, hey, don't get too involved because it's just going to change in an instant. And I think he knows it from experience from like being in the civil war in Lebanon and all that. He knows how the agenda can change in just the turn of an instant. And that's exactly what happened.
It's very difficult. You know, I think when you have, especially this day and age with like revolution movements, not that I go against it, it is you need to be very, very insulated because outside influence will co-opt and, like you said, will change the agenda as soon as there's a winning tide, right? And they'll place people in. You're like, who's this new guy?
I remember like being part of it, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was saying it's an American agenda, blah, blah, blah. And I go there and I'm not even Lebanese because the problem with Lebanon is that they do not want the Muslims to be too they don't want it to be on paper populated by Muslims. So all the Palestinians, all the Syrians, they're actually not Lebanese. Like they can never get a passport.
I see.
So my mom is Lebanese, but I'm not. I'm just Palestinian. I'm a refugee.
So you can't like become a Lebanese unless you like
because
hereditary wise there's a lineage.
No, even hereditary wise. They just want to make sure that the Christian population is still relatively large compared to the Muslim population. Because let's say they do, Palestinians are like 90% Muslim, Syrians are 90% Muslim. So if you give all those people Lebanese citizenship, then the Christian population would go down from like 20 to 25%, all the way down to like 5.
And does that involve like them not being able to vote then, or I'm not entirely
It's
familiar.
It's like a weird thing because it has like a French mandate. There's
Okay,
a lot of geopolitical stuff.
We're not gonna get into it.
It's like French politics,
Yeah.
and they wanted to make sure that they put like a French president on, Christian president on Lebanon.
I see.
So he can't be Muslim.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
It's part of like the sect stuff. But so yeah,
Interesting.
It's a long thing.
So you're kind of going through the situation of a revolution, prioritization of grades, wisdom for your dad as well. How did you change that? I mean, like a 1 point something GPA to a trajectory. I mean, at this point, were you looking at different roads out of Rome, or what's the?
So after that, I really wanted to come to the US and play football, right? So I talked to Temple in Philadelphia because that's like where my dad was.
Yeah.
And it was going really well. It was in a really good direction.
Do they play football in
Temple
Lebanon?
has a football.
No, in Lebanon.
No, I played rugby.
Okay, so
yeah, so I wanted to get the reps in, so it's like rugby.
Okay.
I was automatically admitted to the rugby team because it's like,
all
right,
you have the qualifications.
Yeah, you have the qualifications. But I really wanted to like transition into football, and I did Temple, and it was going well. Then the pandemic happened, and that's like where everything just turns around.
Yeah.
And even like the revolution just starts dying down a little bit, and you're just stuck at home for like 6-7 months. And then the bigger trigger was the explosion in 2020. I don't know if you've
Yes,
ever seen
yeah.
that mushroom cloud,
Right.
whatever. But yeah, so whenever that happened, it was like, okay, there's not a lot of options. My GPA's tanked. I can't really do anything. We're in one of the worst crises I've seen.
Opportunities are kind of closing all around you.
Yeah, because there was also like an inflation, like the Venezuela situation. That's what was happening over there. So
Now,
like,
was Lebanon sanctioned in any way at that
oh
time?
yeah,
Right.
because you had the. Can I name groups?
Yeah, of course.
They
Yeah.
have Hezbollah down there.
Yeah. Oh, so they were because of that.
Yeah, because it's like part of the like the axis of resistance.
Right,
So
right.
it was heavily sanctioned.
Yeah.
And like that's one of the main reasons why the economy tanked the way it did, is because they wanted to like force their hand into the Abraham Accords. They were like, you're gonna normalize whether you like it or not. Fortunately enough, they didn't.
Yeah.
Which we don't want to.
It is interesting because, I think within the diaspora of a lot of people who leave certain countries like Venezuela or Iran, and, they criticize the sitting governments at that time. But in my experience, I feel like they rarely ever criticize the level of sanctions that the West puts on those countries, which, from my understanding, is what causes so much of the economic problems.
Like you look at
right?
the Venezuela situation. You have a country that's basically made into an island.
Yeah.
And they can't work with anyone. They can't do anything with anyone. You're definitely going to have economic crises everywhere. You're not going to have electricity. And I lived that because
in a world of globalization where it's a necessity to be able to trade with people. I mean, that's kind of what even happened with China after the revolution. People criticize China's journey of its own independence, going from the Republic of China to the People's Republic of China. And it's that they were heavily sanctioned on food, and then they...
people don't look at that because it doesn't go with the agenda.
With the narrative,
Yeah, like
exactly.
The narrative is they're oppressed people. They never go into why they're oppressed.
Yeah.
And they just get the diaspora that most of the time are just people that are working with the agenda. So it's like a lot of like our communities, whenever they come over here, it's like they do have to some extent like the
capitulation of the bias that they have towards like imperialist agenda. So I guess, was that isolating, making that transition over here, seeing what's happening around you? And at this point, because you're obviously a very hard worker, right? Like you've consistently showed that, whether it be from the athletic side of things, working with your dad, or even like, in school, or even like managing school, and then being involved politically at that time. What was that feeling like, especially as like, being more of the older sibling territory and trying to make a living?
Yeah, so it was always about like being a good, like that's something my mom always taught me. It's like be a good, if you're successful, your brothers are successful, because you're like the older brother that's living with them.
You're helping sled that, put down the initial foundation.
Yeah, right, like if they see they see themselves in you. So if you have that tendency to work hard, you have that tendency to do something on your own, then it will translate into them. So it kind of had like that weight on your back that their future is kind of tied to your future. So if they see a lot of improvement with you, they're probably going to do a lot of improvement on their own end. And I see that a lot with like my little brother. He's kind of become the face of Pistache now. Like every little thing, he's just he loves posing. He's super social. I'm not like pretty much the picture person. So whenever someone wants to take a picture,
he's the extrovert guy. You're the
he's the one that's just putting his tongue out and just doing signs and all that.
That's so funny.
So he's kind of become that face of Pistache. But yeah, like a big reason he like goes to the gym and all that, and he was trying to kind of break my record in winning the powerlifting thing. It didn't work out with him because he came here, but he was on pace. He was on pace. He's a lot bigger than me, actually.
Well, I'm sure that would make you proud for your brother to,
and seeing them doing like stuff, the things that they want to. My youngest brother is trying to play basketball. He's really good, and I don't know. I don't think I've beat him in years now.
So you are in Lebanon. COVID is happening. Things are dwindling down. Grades aren't there. How did you get to bakery? Was that just like a stress outlet for you? Were you always cooking throughout your life? Like, how did that come to be?
So during COVID, everybody had time on their hands, right? And I was like, I started like, remember when Instagram didn't have reels
Yes.
and it was just pictures? And that it feels so long ago. But so at that time, I was like, I want to start baking and making pictures of it. So if you go to my personal page, you'd see like a plate of chicken wings, you'd see a plate of just scrambled eggs or something, and it would just be like for fun. And I would like put it on top of a microwave. We had like a corner in the house, and I would just take pictures. And after that, my friend comes up to me, one of my closer friends, Enes, and he's like, let's start a business. And I'm like, you can't bake though. And he's like, my mom can bake. And his sister, she was studying marketing. And I was still trying to juggle at the time because like I had everything going on. And at that point, we were studying online. So you had a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah.
Because the beginning of like the online sessions, it was really weird where it was like you were studying, but you weren't really studying. Especially because everybody was still navigating it.
You can kind of get away by doing 60% to get a lot of results.
Yeah,
back.
it's like you just put your computer here. If you have another laptop, you put it there.
Yeah.
And you can really get away with it. So we started Butter Oasis.
Butter Oasis, okay.
Yeah, so that was like our thing.
Yeah.
And ironically, we wanted to focus on more American style desserts. And we transitioned into like an edible cookie dough business.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. So we were doing that. And
And how are you getting sales? Is it purely through Instagram and
it's just friends.
words? Okay.
Just friends, family. And at some point it was growing.
Yeah.
I remember whenever we started it, the thing with Lebanon is that it's like such a social circle. Like if you go there, you have to be social.
Like word spreads fast.
Yeah, word spreads fast, and people there really love connecting. It's like a connection hub over there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so whenever I used to go to the gym, for example, I would go down, I would say hi to this person, I would say hi to that person. By the time you get to the gym, you talk to like 10, 15 people.
Your pre-workout is just yapping your mouth.
Yeah, and whenever you do get to the gym, you're gonna be at the gym for like 2 hours because you're just talking to everybody else. So that's kind of like how the vibe is over there. So we were able to get to like 1,000 followers in like 3 weeks. It was insane.
Wow.
Like looking at how it is to get followers here versus there, it's
we need to move this podcast to Lebanon, it seems like.
It would pop off. It would pop off. Yeah, so we started there, but the problem we had then was we didn't have electricity. So it was like a matter of we had the Beirut port explosion, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that people don't realize is that at the time, the country didn't have electricity. So we had literally 2 or 3 hours of electricity the whole day.
Wow.
And the rest of the day, you would just have your flashlight, stuff like that.
How long was that for?
It did go for like 2 years. And then people figured out we can use solar power. And then whoever had a solar power business, they made millions.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. So from there, we had to like ration it where it's like one day I'm going to bake at your house, one day I'm going to bake at my house. And you just had to come up with like a lot of substitutes. And that's where the biology background comes in, where you're trying to find different substitutes for different recipes.
Yeah. So as you're starting this business, it's kind of ramping up. You're getting, I guess, validation from people, right? Outside of just the communal support, you're like, oh, this is good, right? This is new to them. I like your transition more of like coming to the business here in America and making it. Were you working like another corporate job at the time? What was going on? Or did you go directly into?
So I came here and to study kinesiology.
Oh, okay.
So it was like my degree in Lebanon, it's pretty much nothing right now because you couldn't finish. And with the online stuff, whenever you came here, it just didn't translate. So like you're talking 2020, whenever the pandemic hit, all the way to 2021 in the fall, all those credits did not count. So you had a year and a half that you wasted, and I had the year that I tanked my GPA.
Yeah.
So it was like it was a kind of weird situation, and I never wanted to do pre-med anyway. So I did go into kinesiology and then I started having like knee issues, and it was like, okay, I think I can. I really want to be like a coach type of thing, like go into the football world. So I was studying kinesiology with that intention, like being a physical therapist, being a football coach, being like, an athletic trainer type of thing, especially with like the athletic background. It's like you feel like you're really into that world. But after like a few months, maybe like a year and a half after, I remember taking a coaching class, right? And we had to coach a few kids and all that. And I was like coaching it, and I was like, man, I don't really like this.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to my professor at the time, and she was like, if you expect to get into this industry and you're just going to make like six figures or whatever, it's going to take you a while before you ever do that. And I'm still studying technically, but it's like a balance between like studying and focusing more on the business, because I do see like Pistache can be like its own brand. It can like hold off against and create a really good career for me.
So are you currently doing Pistache like full time? Like, is it able to like pay the bills and things like that?
Yeah. So first year, as with every business, it's like you kind of have to.
It's like,
It's like that, and it's like more of how many blows can you take?
Yeah.
Right. Like you take a blow after blow after blow.
It's just surviving.
It's surviving, and it's like at that point, you don't have a lot of capital. Like especially with me, I didn't start with much.
Yeah.
Because it was like my own business,
Right.
and I'm like 21, 22.
And baking, I mean, I rarely bake because it can get pretty expensive with ingredients and things like that.
Yeah, that's where you need to get creative. You
Yeah.
need to be able to like substitute the way you want to. So let's say, for example, it's like a lot of chemistry, right? So let's say buttermilk, you run out of buttermilk, so you just mix like a little milk with some acid, and it curdles up a little bit, it thickens, and that's buttermilk.
Right.
So being able to like find these workarounds, and that's something I learned a lot in Lebanon.
Yeah.
Because at some point, like with Butter Oasis, I always wanted to make a cheesecake. And we didn't have cream cheese. So I started making my own cream cheese. And then I figured out if I go and I buy ricotta cheese, which is like a more like a cottage cheese type of thing, I was like, I could just get that and I could blend it in a blender for like 2-3 minutes, add a little salt, and there you have cream cheese. So finding those workarounds is what kind of like makes or breaks a business, I think.
Yeah. And I think it in a unique way that seems more fresh, right? Like you're making a region from its origin.
It can be its own selling point.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like you can kind of say, for the long amount of time that says, processing time, you're still using whole ingredients. You're just kind of making a new reagent.
Yeah, and if you're starting a business fresh, you don't have a lot of orders anyway.
Yeah,
so it's like you do have that time to go and work with stuff like that. But overall, it's overwhelming sometimes whenever you have to be able to source ingredients and be able to put this and that whenever you're first starting off, especially like when you come to a country and you literally don't know anyone.
Right. So how do you go about like selling your items? Are you like a front shop with like a bakery fully? Are you selling at like other cafes? Like how are you making your sales?
So this is where it gets interesting, because at that point I was studying kinesiology, and I really wanted this business to grow. And I was doing I started off by just doing the logo, right? And I was like, I have these grand plans and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it's going to boom up in like 3 months. That's how everybody starts a business is.
You're setting up like the map and the
trajectory. And you're like 2 years from now, I'm going to open a store. 5 years, I'm going to open like 5.
Inshallah.
But you get humbled really fast. And I got humbled whenever I started looking for farmers markets. And I did the Burleson Farmers Market. So Burleson is, I don't know if you're familiar with the geography, but Burleson is like rural Texas.
Okay.
So I remember going there, and people didn't really know who I was, and they would just look at me and they'd be like, "Why are you even here? Like, you clearly don't belong."
You took two wrong turns.
And it would be like, "Oh, I'm using these ingredients," and I remember it's like halawa, like it's like a tahini crumble, like a tahini butter. And I would be talking to them and I'm describing like halawa and halva, they call it here. And they're like, "Oh, so it's like Israeli halva." And I look at them and I'm like,
A'udhu billah.
yeah. So there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of, I remember doing my trip in Israel and we tried this exact coffee. And it would be like a big trigger moment.
Absolutely.
Or you really want to say something, but you don't want to. Your face goes
flush.
Yeah. And I realized that my business will never grow from there. It's like, let's be honest, you can't do a proof of concept of something that it's not working in that market. It's just not there. So I remember Camaria just opened. I think it was like May of that year, 2022, I think. I don't know. So I went to Camaria and around like June-ish. And I wanted to talk to the owner and I wanted to ask about them and all that. And I was not familiar that Camaria was a franchise. Like, I really did not know what franchises were. It's just like, I come from a really small country.
Sure.
So the owner of Camaria comes up to me, his name is Ibrahim. And he's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "I want to do like a pop-up with you just so I'm able to get my foot in the door." And he's like, "Why would you do a pop-up? You just cater to me." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "You just sell me wholesale." And I was like, "Wait, so you don't do your pastries here?" He's like, "No, nobody does that." And then I had like that flashlight moment where it was like, "Oh, so I could do wholesale to coffee shops." And like, coming from a background where my dad did wholesale, my uncle did wholesale, it's like we're a wholesale family. It's like we do numbers. So me and Camaria started working together. And from there, it was really productive because I learned a lot from them. Like, I remember the first day
is the Ibrahim from Camaria, what's his background? Is he Lebanese by chance?
Oh, no, he's Yemeni.
Yemeni? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's the Yemeni shops. Yeah. It's the OGs.
Yeah. It's franchise, so I don't know if they're like exclusionary.
Yeah.
Like you can't sign up with this. Like, all right, my bad.
But it was like a matter of like a learning curve because I remember whenever he asked for samples, he was really patient with me.
How old is Ibrahim?
He's like in 30s.
30s, and you were what, like 23 at the time? 22?
21.
21. Oh, wow. So he kind of
22, 21, maybe 22, something like that.
Yeah. So he kind of had like a mentor mentality.
So I remember whenever I first went to him with like samples, he looked at me and was like, those samples are not going to cut it for you. You got to work a little more on whatever.
So he challenged. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I remember I was like pricing him on cakes and stuff. And like, now when I look at it, I'm like, man, why did he even work with me? I remember I gave him like a coat for cake, right? And I go to sell it to him and he calls me and he's like, "Why is this cake so small? This is not for retail."
How much were you selling it to him for?
I think I was selling it like $30, something like that. 30-ish, like wholesale or whatever.
So $30 for how many? Like a dozen or?
It's like a cake.
It's like a cake, bigger so $30 per cake.
So it was like 8-inch. Okay. And I go up to him and he's like, "This is not going to cut it. You got to
like a paper size.
If you want to do retail, you have to do a bigger size." And it was like that patience kind of to go with that learning curve. So
did you go from like an 8-inch cake to like
a 10-inch?
10-inch.
That's like retail.
Were you charging $30 for that one still?
No, it was a little more expensive.
Okay. And then how much was he reselling like a slice for? Like $8, I imagine? Or
so like usually my coffee shops, like they work and they sell it for like $6.50 to $7
a slice.
So it's a decent profit margin for them.
That's good.
Yeah. And then after that,
and you're able to keep your price down by making wholesale amount, right? So
exactly. And at the beginning, it was like it wasn't too profitable at the beginning, but it was like that learning.
But it's what you wanted, your foot in the door, right?
Yeah, your foot in the door. You just want an opportunity to get out of Burleson.
Exactly.
Like, just get into city life, Dallas.
Yeah, and it's much better to be able to sell to one person versus having to sell to 100 people constantly.
It was like I knew that the countryside of Texas was not gonna be my goal.
Yeah, it's not your bread and butter.
Yeah,
That's a pun.
it's not gonna make me it's not gonna make me anything.
Yeah.
And like I ended up selling lemonade at those markets.
Oh, okay.
And that's how I started making money. That's like something we can go into later.
Yeah.
And after that, I went over to PAX in downtown Fort Worth.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the manager there, he talked to me, and I was like, "Hey, I have this pitch, and I'm doing this business, and I think we would work perfect with you guys on all that." And he was like, "Yeah, sure. Show me your like page and all that." And I remember getting my phone out and trying to show him my page, and I look at my Pistache page, and it has like 100 followers. So I go to my personal page, and I show him, those chicken wing pictures and all those, and he sees those, and I was like, "How can I benefit from that?" And I'm like, "See, I have potential." So they were really patient with me. The owner of Pax Muayyad, he's really nice. And they did end up like helping me put my foot in the door. I remember we did like a collab there at PAX in downtown, and they did this like photo shoot with my cheesecake, and they took like pictures of like croissants. At that point, I realized that croissants would be the thing to do at coffee shops.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's what kind of put my foot in the door. So like those two people have like had this like get your foot in the door type of effect.
And
where
they
it's
kind of
like,
influence and nurture you.
I think those two were the proof of concept.
Yeah.
I think Pax and Camaria.
Now, is Pistache still both at Camaria and at Pax?
It's not at PAX.
Okay.
Just because I think later on, they did want me to do all the stores, and that was like a thing. And I'm like, I can't really meet demand.
Oh, I see.
Right now. And then it become more of okay, I have like this set amount of wholesalers, so I need to focus more on my brand. So I was more on the wholesale side for like 2 years almost. And then I started focusing more on my personal brand.
How many wholesale clients did you have, like outside that one location with Camaria and one with Pax? Where were you, like how many were you handling before you were making this transition now on personal branding?
At that point I had 7. That's when I decided to switch.
And how much was like revenue generating at that point with 7 locations?
So a lot of those locations, they do like 2,000, maybe 3,000 a month.
Okay.
In revenue.
Okay.
So they add up and they can cover costs. So that's why whenever I started my business, the model was to some extent to just focus on wholesale. You get a good steady revenue every month.
So you're at 14,000 roughly. And then what's the profit margin when you're at this situation as a baker?
You could do like 50 maybe.
Oh, wow.
40
so
to 50.
Good.
So it's a good margin. It's not like some stores, they do like $400 a month, $300.
Yeah.
So not everyone is a hard hitter, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking more about like the 4, 5, maybe 6 range. But at that point I wanted to start, because you have a lot of competition like backstage in the wholesale aspect. There's too many competitors, right? And a lot of them are charging less. They're charging for like more generic items. So me trying to create this revenue just by wholesale was going to kill me later on, because it's like there's no brand, there's nothing. So that's when I started pushing Pistache more into like farmers markets, events. And that's when I worked with like the Halal Fest people, the Whole Fest people, just to get it into the limelight, basically.
So I think I understand why that branding part was important. So are you saying essentially like, yes, you're selling wholesale to these, businesses, but as a customer that is walking into PAX and I'm buying XYZ, pastry item, it's important to know like, oh wow, they sell Pistache. Like, is that the selling element?
Yeah, so that was what I thought I was doing in the beginning.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the stores that I work with, they usually have a sign that I cater to them. But if people aren't familiar with the brand, they really would not care about a sign.
Correct, because
so
they could have just been like Costco croissants, right?
Yeah, like when someone buys a croissant at a coffee shop, it's really hard for them to eat something and be like, oh, this is really good. Let me go see where it's from.
I see. Yeah.
It's more like, oh, this croissant is really good. I love a croissant from this place.
And for a Camaria or for a wholesaler, that's important, because for them it's like, oh, wait, no one really cares about where I'm getting this croissant from.
Yeah.
Why am I paying a premium to your brand versus where I could get something cheaper because nobody really cares about what brand it's coming from.
Now the thing that distinguished our brand is that I was able to like create like really unique. I focus most on pictures. Like I want things to be picture perfect.
Right.
So I have like my pistachio croissant. I make sure it's like a custard filled croissant. It's really hefty. And you top it off with like white chocolate, and you top it off with some chopped pistachios, just to have it give it that aesthetic.
That elevated. Yeah. I mean, that goes into the branding element.
That goes into the branding.
You're recognizing,
but the problem that I was getting into was I'm doing this branding, but that branding is not going reflecting on me. It's reflecting on the wholesale shops.
I see.
So I was going 2 steps forwards, 1 step back type of situation. So it became more apparent that I need to get wholesale alone was not going to do it, especially if my long-term goal was to build Pistache as a standalone brand.
Right.
So that's when I started focusing more on doing like markets and cutting down a little bit on wholesale.
So you got to a really good position of wholesaling. Right?
Yeah.
You're in a good position of revenue. You're noticing that, okay, cool, I'm in a good spot, but I'm not solidifying myself for my future for this brand. How did you make that business decision in terms of how much to dial down by and how much to upscale on the branding element? And like, what was because at this point, I assume it's just not you making all of this for 7 places. You have a team and payroll. Could you run us through the numbers and how you made that adjustment in your decision making?
So I was doing things from a kitchen, like a commercial kitchen. So there's a lot of rent on that because a commercial kitchen is like, it runs you like $22 a month, an hour, and you need maybe like 8 hours to get everything done for everyone. And I did have help from like friends and family and stuff like that at the beginning, especially.
Like a volunteer type of basis.
Yeah, like a
no, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why community is important, right?
It's like you didn't sign up to it, but you're gonna do it.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, and this is my child.
Yeah, exactly. But so I was at a point where you were doing really good revenue, but like how much can you keep going like this? Because if you could focus more on the wholesale side, then it's like there's no growth for your brand. It's growing slowly but surely, but it's not growing fast enough. And you want to be able to step out at some point, right? So if I'm doing croissants and stuff, it's just not going to cut it later on because I'm going to still have to have this team that is just steamrolling croissants everywhere. And at that point, I decided that maybe I should like dial down a little bit on the wholesale side. At first, it started with, okay, I'm just not going to talk to other coffee shops right now. And then it became, I have to make a tough decision to like cut off a little coffee shops and focus on the few big ones. And that's what I've done over the past year. It was, I did have like this little unfortunate circumstance where I did lose a few of them because I was trailing back. Because of my family, they came back in 2024, last year.
Oh, yeah.
It was last year, so I had to find like a house. I need to get the finances right for that. I had to
like personal responsibilities.
Yeah, the personal responsibilities. Me and my dad, we were looking for like a house that would seat 7 people.
Yeah.
So it's a hard search, and it took like a few months, and then getting them acclimated to the
new life here.
The new life here, that took like 6-7 months. And naturally with that, you're gonna kind of neglect your work a little bit. But a lot of my like customers, they did understand. A lot of them were patient. But some of them did just dial back and just go to another supplier. But it's not necessarily something it's more of like yes, it happened, but I'm grateful it happened because it did push me kind of more into, all right, you got to work on your brand, because if you don't have a brand, you really don't have anything.
So what's been the investment like? Because it seems like a very recent transition that you're making into your brand. How have you been adjusting like financially with that change? Like what's your timeline on, I guess, what's the definition of success for you now with this new goal of building your brand?
I think right now, it's being able to just support yourself basically. And I did go through a really tough time, like beginning of last year. January 2025 was a really bad one compared to right now. I was like, shoot, I think I'm broke, right? But that's the thing with like being like a business owner, entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's being able to like look at your thing and just say, okay, I'm just gonna do this for the next 4 or 5 months. And one really big account I had was MOTW in Plano. And they're really nice people there.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have I don't know if you've been, but
They do a lot for the community.
yeah, they do a lot for the
Yeah.
community. They're really nice owners, really nice people. And our partnership has been like really beneficial for both sides, especially as Pistache has grown as a brand. And focusing more on markets, being able to expand wisely. So we were able. 2024 was a really bad year, right? It was like it was one of those you got to take a lot of blows when you first get into business, so you go through a lot of cash. And 2025 was more of a build-up year. So if you look at the numbers from 2024 to 2025, it's like they jumped from, okay, I have 20K maybe in revenue in 2024, which is
Per month or for the whole year?
this is the whole year.
Okay, yeah. I'm optimistic. Okay, so you're at 20,000.
Yeah, for a whole year. That's
yeah.
2024 when I first started, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta fix myself a little bit. And alhamdulillah, we were able to like get it up to like 100 plus.
Yeah. That's an
this
incredible transition.
It's like 4, 5, 6 folds.
Yeah, yeah.
In 1 year, so it's looking up. I think the numbers still, you need to be able to look and say, okay, I can make 100K in another job, but this is 6 times folds.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to just sustain it and just grow on that. So for example, in 2025, we only launched a coffee cart in October.
Right.
So that was only the last 4 months, and it has been a really good investment.
Right.
So you would project that it would be a lot more beneficial in 2026.
Inshallah. So what's been, you mentioned that when it came to having a few of those wholesale opportunities, that one actually wanted to scale up, which was like packs wanted to scale up. And you had a challenge where you kind of recognized that you didn't have the bandwidth or the ability to do that. Was that like a financial constraint as to why you couldn't grow?
I think it was a matter of both.
Okay.
Because like looking at it now, it was probably bumming at the beginning. It was like disappointing that I had to be like, okay, I can't do this. But looking at it now, it's more of I sacrificed that to be able to build something for myself in the future.
Right. So do you think, was there ever a moment where you're like, okay, let me look at getting outside funding? Because I feel like right now, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been able to very much like self-fund this, right? And
this has been going on for like just fully by me right now.
Yeah.
But I have been looking into like outside funding potentially for like a future projects.
Yeah.
Because like Pistache to me is like a lot more than pastries. So I want to be able to get it to a point where it's like it's standalone brand. It's like a coffee shop style type of thing with some European influence to some extent, because like the pastries and the coffee, and so being able to do that will definitely need outside funding. But like right now, I'm trying as much as I can to resist that urge.
Yeah. What would you look at the funding for as like a next chapter or venture that you're looking into that you would need funding for?
Yeah. So right now we're working on like a new thing where so it all started with matcha, right? We were working on matcha, and I wanted like this banger matcha flavor. And I was like, it's pistache, so let's do like a pistachio matcha. And I was like, how can I make pistachio matcha really good? And I realized that I'm using oat milk for matcha anyway. So why don't I do pistachio milk? And I was looking up like pistachio milk companies and where I can buy it from. And then I was like, man, I'm Pistache. I could just make my own pistachio milk, right?
I mean, you made your own buttermilk.
Yeah. So So you can do that. You can make pistachio milk, right? So I did end up learning how to do pistachio milk. We got it's pretty simple. It's like just 3 ingredients. And it's like a simple pistachio milk, just pistachios, water, but you need to have like some technique to it to extract all the flavor. And I take it to a market and people are like, this is crazy. This is like really good. So I wanted to look up what pistachio milk companies there are. And I realized there's only one.
Yeah.
I think it's Tashe. It's pretty much just in New York and those areas. It's available here, but not too much.
Who's it owned by? Do you know?
Who is it owned by?
Yeah.
I think it's an Iranian
company.
woman.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a woman-owned company.
Yeah.
She's pretty much just like a normal businesswoman type of thing, and she was able to get funding and open her own pistachio milk brand.
Awesome.
So I looked at the projections that they've been having, and I'm like, man, there's only one company basically that makes pistachio milk. So I think I can tap into that market. So that's something I think it would be in the future, just looking to build up a market like that and getting into the retail side, like B2C.
Yeah.
Business to customer type of thing in grocers.
So is that like a 2026 plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So near 2026.
So have you considered what the investment would look like for that and like how you would source that?
Yeah. So the investment would be, it would be substantial at the beginning because you have the marketing side, especially with like a new product.
Right.
You're looking about a lot of education in the product. So if you want people to start using something else other than oat milk or almond milk, you need to be able to educate people on that.
Right.
And you need a lot of influencer help. And there's a lot of research and development involved.
Yeah.
So one thing I have done that has worked really well is the connection in Lebanon. It's like, it's not really the, there's wages there are a lot lesser than here.
Right.
And everybody is skilled.
Is there pistachio farms in Lebanon? Because I know dominantly like originates, I think, in Iran. I think some of the larger
There's Iran,
markets.
Syria has really good pistachios. But fun fact, 90% of the global pistachios come from California.
90%?
90%.
Wow.
And 80% of that is bought by China.
Let's go, China.
Yeah, it's like an insane stat.
That's wild, yeah.
Like I never knew. Like I was looking at like suppliers in China for pistachios, and I was like, wait, why are all of them California pistachio?
I was just in China, and I don't remember having a lot of pistachio dishes.
They don't do it; they just resell it. They resell it to like countries like Turkey and Syria, and they sell it back to people.
Incredible. Okay.
It's just mind blowing. But I was blown away because I really thought that it would be like a Turkish market.
Yeah.
Like, Turkey pistachios are all over. Iranian pistachios, you could say there's like sanctions, so they can't really export it. So
where would you be sourcing your pistachio from?
I think it would be like California.
California.
But just because
shipping
it would be
costs, everything
not
else,
just shipping, you need to have it FDA checked.
Valid.
Right? So by the time you do that, it's like you're just paying for inconvenience at that point. But one thing I was able to do is the research and development. I actually have a meeting with that on Tuesday.
Oh, amazing.
So, they are able to like cut down costs substantially, especially for something that is like a product that needs to be FDA approved. So normally when you want to do like an aseptic product, like a milk product that can stay on the shelf, usually the R&D on that on its own would be around $40K.
Okay.
Right. But you can outsource that and you can work on it like abroad and just get the recipe, and they work on the foaming of it. They work on all that stuff because they want to be able to get the perfect proportions. That's what the R&D is for.
Makes sense. Let the labor part of the research and development be done offshore. And then the knowledge that you get, bring it here.
They just send you a recipe, you submit that, and then you get the FDA testing here.
Makes sense.
And it cuts you off like It cuts off like 30,000 off that bill.
Wow.
It's an insane amount.
How do you go about finding the right person to do the research? Was that like a Google search in two, or?
It was just an Instagram story.
Let's go.
It's like that's the thing about Lebanon. It's like it's such a small community that I just posted a story. I talked to 2 people and they're like, "Oh, I know like 10 of them. I can get you a recent development person." Even my social media stuff, all that, like the edits, I am able to do them in Lebanon.
Yeah.
So like I just take pictures and I send it to her and she does an incredible job. We were in college together and she just takes care of the edits and just posts and all that.
That's amazing. So Tarek, I have a question. Where can people try out your goods?
So right now we're all over in like farmers markets and we're doing a lot of like the halal events. We're doing like 5-6 of them before Ramadan. So
wow, busy.
Yeah, it's a busy time before Ramadan.
Yeah.
And during Ramadan last year it was insane because everybody did a suhoor fest.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get to them. But usually we reserve ourselves like the last 10 days we don't do any suhoor fest.
Okay,
it's like the thing.
sense.
It's all right, that's too much.
Yeah. Do you guys ship internationally or nationally?
We tried shipping nationally.
Yeah.
But the problem is one of the major logistical problems is cheesecake.
Oh, yes.
So that's our number 1 bestseller, right?
Okay.
So the problem with that is that it needs to be frozen and we have like a baklava bottom.
Yeah.
So the problem is that it gets soggy after freezing it.
Yes.
So you can't send it frozen, but you can't send it not frozen because, you know, you have like 100-degree weathers half the year, especially here in Texas. So that has been like a logistical issue. Is that in the plans for 2026? I don't think so. I think I realized one of the things is
your margins reduce.
Your margins reduce insanely. And it's like one of those things where you can't just jump into this big step if you don't even control your market over here.
Yeah.
So we're like still trying to control the market here. We're trying to become like a household name for like birthdays, whatever occasion it is, just being able to cater to them and do that stuff. But it's I think it's in the future, but just not now.
Makes sense. Well, Tarek, appreciate you making the time to talk to us at the Caravan Podcast. I know there's a lot of opportunities ahead for you. So inshallah, it grows in the direction bigger than the way you expect it to. Excited to see your product with pistache milk. Is that what it's going to be called? Do we have a name for it yet?
I was thinking pistache milk.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
That works.
Honestly, just calling it pistache would be...
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah. Well, incredible, Tarek. I really appreciate you coming in and chatting with us. And I kind of want to try out what you got us here, if that's okay on camera.
Definitely.
I know I shook it up the box a bit. So let's try this out. The branding is incredible. I do a terrible job of opening up packages aesthetically. Yep, there you go, right off the gate.
You gotta do the TikTok thing.
Oh yeah. the
influencer,
the makeup box. I didn't do my nails, so I apologize. But let's try this out. And thank you so much for bringing us some. Hamza's taking the L today because, well, I guess I don't know if you could have it because he has a gluten allergy.
Oh, that doesn't work with that.
Yeah. Let's look at this. Oh, wow. Even with me shuffling around, these look incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my gosh. Okay, hold on.
You got to fix it.
I got to fix it up. You know what, though? Only one shifted.
Oh, that's good.
All the others stay perfectly fine. But this is... Can I open up this part, too? No, I can't. Look at this. I'm gonna bring this to the camera. I'm gonna bring this to the camera with the Lysol. I'm gonna bring 2 in my hand. You will have one with me, right? You don't want to.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, you can't let me eat alone. Look at these, absolutely beautiful. So, I mean, we see obviously it's pistachio on here. Hold on, let's hear half one. So what's like the ingredients on here? Walk us through this.
So
while I eat.
So yeah, I wanted to make a cheesecake, but I wanted it a little lighter because, you know, a New York cheesecake is really dense. So I did like a mix of cream cheese and mascarpone just to like make it a little lighter, give it more of a creamy. It's good. You like it?
I'm not gonna do this as I do this, but man.
Yeah, so it's just being able to use really good ingredients. That's pretty much all it takes. And other than that, it's just 6, 7 other ingredients.
Yeah. It doesn't feel. It doesn't.
It's not
It doesn't.
dense.
It doesn't tank you down.
Yeah.
And this is like, I love Asian sweets a lot because it has. It's like, oh, it's sweet, but it's not like.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, right? You talk about maybe the origin was like American bakery, things like that. This is very. I mean, I guess no, because the cheesecake, I guess, is the
Cheesecake
American
is
side,
American.
but you still have this flakiness, so it reminds me of like a baklava type of influence almost, that flakiness to it. Is that the inspiration?
Yeah, it's the baklava cheesecake.
Yeah.
So it's like I didn't want to say baklava because usually baklava is like, they would just mistake and say it's Israeli, it's this, it's this. So I wanted to make sure it's like Palestinian, it's baklava, right, with a W. I made sure to do that as the branding.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the vibe. It's like a pistachio baklava, the thing that you would have at your grandma's house and stuff, and just put a cheesecake on top.
I'll tell you what, my grandma did not make this. But this is incredible.
No, I appreciate it.
How are you not?
Mike.
Oh, sorry.
Oops, yeah, I've
This
been
is more
talking the whole
important.
time.
I'm like, it's like, when you see something that takes your breath away.
Yeah.
This generally feels that like it is really,
I
really
appreciate
good. How are you not severely overweight? I mean, like a lot of for example, I used to be like a health coach, behavioral health coach. And I had a lot of clients who own bakeries. And for them, it's a big challenge because they're always like tasting and eating and tasting and eating, and it adds up. Has that ever been a challenge?
So having 4 brothers that would taste and eat,
Oh, amazing.
that kind of cuts off a lot.
You diversify your risk.
Yeah, especially when you're like baking something and they're like looking and they're like, "Can we have that?" And I'm like, "No, it's for business." and so every now and then you'd be like, "Hey, you can have that," in like 2 seconds it's gone. But in general, it's like whenever you do something for too long, you kind of don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried not to try my cheesecake always because I know I'd get sick of it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like every now and then. I had one in the morning, I'll tell you that. I had like an extra piece out of that 6 piece.
Wow.
So I do have it every now and then.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all right. That's a good reaction. That's a good reaction.
I'm going through the internal debate of like, do I share this with my
Yeah, I
brother?
appreciate it, man.
So I just got back from Hong Kong like 2 days ago. Bakery scene there is incredible.
Yeah.
One of the things that they're coming up with is like a Hong Kong tart, or very similar to like a Portuguese tart.
Yeah.
And the top, the way it's baked, it's almost like this, like, when you get like a cheese pizza from Costco and the mozzarella on the end is like perfectly like caramelized in a way.
Yeah.
Like all the milk sugars melted just perfectly. The top of your cheesecake has that. Now, how are you able to do that in these like small areas? I can get it with when you have a bigger surface, the risk is a lot easier to control. But when it's something small like that, and you have like such a sensitive dough, what's your trade secret?
This is where it's like the biology side and all the, like
The
working
science.
in labs and all that.
Yeah.
So each cheesecake has I do a thermometer test. So I don't do the jiggle whatever, because I realize if you do that jiggle test and stuff, at some way it's like, it's not working.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's undercooked. Most of the time it's overbaked. So this is like, I get it to exactly 150 degrees.
Surface temp? Or are you
Surface
doing it?
temp.
Okay,
You
so
just do like a poke, the
okay.
thermometer,
So you're not using a laser thermometer.
the laser doesn't work because it's just a surface.
Yeah.
It just gets like a surface.
So you want the internal temperature.
You got the internal temperature.
Okay.
So you get that to like 150, and that's when it's like perfect.
Then really take it out.
And then there's like a step where you turn off your oven, you give it like 10, 15 minutes to like cool down.
Carryover heat. Okay.
Yeah, carryover heat, and then you take it out because like whenever you shock it, the eggs, because like eggs are a lot of protein, right?
Yeah.
So whenever you shock it, the proteins, they just constrict, right?
Gotcha.
And that's where you get a cracked cheesecake.
Ah.
But if you don't want a cracked cheesecake, then you gotta ease those egg whites into like settling, and then you take it out, you put it out, and you don't get a crack.
Well, Tarek, that was incredible, and I really appreciate you bringing us some wonderful pieces of what would you call them? Mini cheesecake cakes, or like
It's I think I call them mini baklava
mini
cheesecakes. Yeah.
How do you say baklava?
Baklava.
Baklava.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tarek, thank you so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to your growth. And yeah, this was amazing. Pistache, check it out. It'll be locally here in DFW, and inshallah in many grocery markets across the nation here if you're looking for some alternative milk options.